Decoding the line graph, a visual guide to trends. Line graphs are powerful tools that illustrate trends over time. By connecting data points with lines, they reveal patterns and changes. An IELTS line graph presents data using a horizontal x-axis and vertical y-axis structure, with the x-axis typically indicating time periods, for example years, and the y-axis representing measurements, for example percentages or amounts. These graphs are commonly used to illustrate trends over time, make comparisons between groups or categories, and highlight significant peaks, troughs, and overall patterns. Understanding the axes and key trends is essential for effectively analyzing and describing the data in your response. While writing the IELTS line chart, you have to follow a certain structure in order to get your desired band score. When writing about an IELTS line graph, start by paraphrasing the question to introduce the topic and describe the graph type. Next, provide an overview highlighting the main trends, such as noticeable peaks, steady growth or decline, or significant comparisons. Finally, delve into the details by explaining specific data points, supporting your observations with accurate figures, and emphasizing key patterns or variations to give a clear and comprehensive analysis of the graph. In order to write your line graph effectively, you have to follow certain steps where the first step is analyzing the question. When analyzing an IELTS line graph, start by carefully examining the title, which explains the theme or subject of the graph. For instance, the graph might show the money spent on books in US $1 million over a decade, from 1995 to 2005. Next, observe the axes. The horizontal axis, x-axis, represents the time period, 1995-2005, while the vertical axis, y-axis, displays the amount of money in million dollars. Pay attention to the units to ensure accuracy in interpretation. The graph compares spending trends in Germany, France, Italy, and Austria, highlighting changes over the decade. Look for key patterns, such as which countries spent the most or least, consistent increases or decreases, and any fluctuations. Noting trends and time frames, such as steady growth or sudden changes, will help provide a detailed and precise analysis of the data. Step 2 is writing the overview, where your task is to highlight the main trends in 1-2 sentences. For instance, the given question says, the graph below shows the amount of money spent on books in Germany, France, Italy, and Austria between 1995 and 2005. Now, if we paraphrase the question, it means if we rewrite the question in our own words, it will look like the line chart illustrates the expenditure on books across Germany, France, Italy, and Austria over a decade between 1995 and 2005. The next step is to write the 2 body paragraphs. This task involves summarizing the main trends from a chart in 2 body paragraphs. Each paragraph should focus on one key trend, providing details like numbers or figures from the chart. In the first paragraph, highlight the most noticeable trend with supporting data. The second paragraph should focus on another trend, such as a steady rise or a fluctuation, and include specific data points that show how the trend developed over time. Keep the information clear, concise, and easy to understand, using numbers or figures to back up your observations. For example, in the given line chart, main trend 1 is spending increased in every country and increased the most in Austria. So, we can write it like Austria started 1995 with the lowest amount of money spent on books at only $30 million, but that figure grew to just over $70 million by 2005. France and Italy both had about $50 million in book sales in 1995, and they both saw book sales rise by $20 million and $12 million respectively. Next, we can observe that main trend 2 is Germans consistently spent the most on books. So for this we will write Germany began 1995 with the greatest amount of money spent on books at $80 million and maintained the top spot through 2005. Despite seeing a drop in book sales from 1999 to 2003, book sales in Germany still increased by $15 million from 1995 to 2005. Now, after following all these steps, we can write our line chart with perfection. If we consider the example shown and all the points discussed before, our line chart will look like this. The line chart illustrates the expenditure on books across Germany, France, Italy, and Austria over a decade between 1995 and 2005. Overall spending on books increased in all 4 countries, with Austria experiencing the most significant growth. Germany consistently spent the most on books throughout the period. In 1995, Austria spent the least on books at $30 million, but this figure more than doubled to over $70 million by 2005. Similarly, France and Italy started at $50 million and saw increases of $20 million and $12 million respectively over the same period. Germany began with the highest expenditure at $80 million in 1995 and retained its lead throughout. Despite a slight decline from 1999 to 2003, spending rebounded, reaching $95 million by 2005. Remember to practice well and use all the strategies. All the best.